Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And before we get into the video, I would just like to make an announcement. One of my very, very kind viewers, Lady Heather J, you know what you've done. I would just like to say a very deep, heartfelt thank you. It was a very generous thing you've done. It really helps the channel, and I wish you well. And yeah, we all thank you. It helps us to do what we do. So you have our gratitude. Now, on to the story. It seems that the previously impenetrable shield of the cult of Nicola Sturgeon has now cracked somewhat. Even her loyal supporters are starting to turn on her to see that the damage she has caused by her 8 years as leader, everything that's going wrong now, can be pointed and laid fairly squarely at her door. We will say that chickens are most definitely coming home to roost. They know what the problems are and they know who caused them. Let's look at this article to see why the shine and gloss is coming off dear sweet Nicola. So, Nicola Sturgeon's arch loyalists turn on former leader as furious SNP members rage. We've been taken for fools. Well, of course you have. Because you cannot believe anything that woman has ever said in her life. And anyone who believes politicians and believes what politicians say are fairly foolish. And I urge everyone that you never believe any of them. They are all in it for themselves. They talk a good game, but none of them are capable. If they're any good at what they did, they'd do it for money out in the professional world and commercial world. They're just experts at spinning yarns, basically. Anyway, the former First Minister is facing growing calls to quit as an MSP as the police probe party finances. Nicola Sturgeon's arch loyalists have turned against the former First Minister. As the Scottish National Party members claim they've been taken for fools, Sturgeon has come under pressure from furious SNP insiders after footage emerged of the 52-year-old trying to shut down scrutiny of party finances at the NEC meeting in March 2021, did the video. The fact the ex-First Minister was taped telling the NEC that the SNP finances had never been stronger, as she warned colleagues against suggestion that there were any problems with the party's war chest. In other words, shut your mouth, look away, don't ask questions. It would be very embarrassing. In other words, shut your mouth, look away, don't ask questions. It would be very embarrassing. Sturgeon, who quit last month after a 9-year stint in Butte House, is also facing growing calls to quit Holyrood altogether, following the arrest of her husband, the SNP's former chief executive, Peter Murrell. They were in it together, whatever it is. Got to be careful what I say. But yeah, you can see that she's firmly got her hand up his behind and operating him, just like she's doing with Humza Yousaf. She is just odious, isn't she? Anyway, despite announcing she will steer clear of the Scottish Parliament this week because she's running scared, she's fit to be asked any questions, knows that if she does show her face in that room, people will be questioning her on everything. She will not get out, without being forced to answer questions. She doesn't want it. She doesn't want to be scrutinised. She doesn't want to tell the truth. A senior MSP told the Telegraph that the radioactive political cloud could hang over Sturgeon's successor Humza Yousaf for months. It won't. He will not be there for months. His time is already done. You can almost hear the ticking of the clock, The MSP instead urged Sturgeon and her allies to put all their cards on the table. Party insiders have warned the SNP's financial situation will only worsen unless Sturgeon tackles the matter head on. In other words, they need her to stand up and tell the truth. But that ain't never going to happen because that woman is incapable. She is psychologically incapable of telling the truth. She is, I think she's a psychopath. I really do. Anyway, they predict members will leave and donors will refuse to cough up cash to Scotland's largest party amid its ongoing police probe. And we know this is already happening. Chapman over the weekend admitted as much, although he's probably admitting it to the police now, as I've just reported. Murrell, who tied the knot with Sturgeon in 2010, was arrested on April the 5th as the couple's home was raided during the police Operation Branchform investigation. They say tied the knot. Let's be honest. They entered into an arranged marriage, so that they could both hide each other's proclivities and pretend that they were having a relationship and that they weren't anything other than perfectly normal people. These are never normal people. Anyway, he was released without charge, but pending further investigations. Police Scotland have been examining the SNP's handling of more than 600,000 in donations, blah, 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 blah. Murrell is also alleged to have lent the SNP 107,000 to tackle so-called cash flow issues. Yes, they were probably out of about 600,000 light somehow. SNP Treasurer Colin Beattie, who was arrested this morning, raised concerns on Saturday about the finances amid declining membership, falling donors and rising costs, specifically legal costs I've covered. He claimed that the SNP was having difficulty balancing the books. It is finished. Anyway, the Midlothian North and Musselburgh MSP added, "We need to find money to keep the party going forward, or we'll keep cutting our tail until there's nothing left." Right, we've covered all that, but here we go. The SNP insider slammed Sturgeon over the unforgivable secrecy, claiming just about everybody, apart from the people at the top, have been misled by our leaders. They have been lied to. They have been absolutely lied to by that cabal at the top. And look at her sitting there smug, thinking she's going to get away with it. I hope to God she isn't. And I'd love to see that face in a dock as she's handed down 10 years. And she has to do it in Barlinnie rather than Cornton Vale. I'd tell you what, she wouldn't know what hit her. Anyway, we've been taken for fools. Because none of them have offered us a single word of explanation. It's been total secrecy, yet at the same time MPs and MSPs are supposed to give unqualified loyalty, and yet they're getting no loyalty in return. They keep saying, oh yes, we're doing this for the good of the party, and the party is quite literally crapping on them. The source continued, even some of her arch loyalists are beginning to think, what the hell is going on? Yousaf, who defeated Kate Forbes in the race to replace Sturgeon last month, recently insisted the SNP is solvent, but hasn't proved it, hasn't opened the books to show that this is the case. It's more lies. It's every time they open their mouths, they lie. They cannot help themselves. This is the SNP, where truth is unknown. The First Minister added, I wasn't particularly disturbed at all by the video in the way some of our opponents seem to be. That's because he's too stupid to understand the significance of what was said. A spokesperson for Sturgeon confirmed the ex-SNP leader will participate as an MSP remotely, but return to Holyrood in the near future. Yeah, only as a visitor, I suspect. They also claimed the former First Minister had no intention of stepping down. Now, I've said before that you never believe any kind of rumour until it's officially denied. So I think we now can see that she will be stepping down anytime soon. It will be soon. She'll be gone. And Humza will be gone soon. I can't see him lasting more than a couple of weeks now. Everything is gone. But when you're getting senior people, I mean, they're speaking off the record, I grant you, because they're still party members. They don't want to sort of lose and things like that, any position they have. But when they're prepared even to speak off the record, to say that there's loyalists within the party, people who previously were very loyal to the party and to her in particular, and they're feeling disillusioned, disenfranchised, well, to be honest, let down in every single way. Betrayed by her. It's no surprise that the party is falling apart. Anyway, I shall finish there. Come up. I suppose it could be quite sad when you watch a woman who just, say, 2 months ago commanded great power, great respect, could control a room with a withering look or the raise of a small finger, and now sits alone, unloved, unwanted, considered to be toxic even by her own supporters, a transient politician in the twilight of her career, never again to be considered or even asked for her opinion. Of course, she will have questions to answer by the police, by the courts, by the court of public opinion, but she'll never get asked them by MSPs, because I don't think she'll ever return to the chamber. I think she lacks the spine to do that. I don't think she will put herself forward to be questioned and to be abused by people in such a way as to insinuate, how dare they insinuate, that she's anything other than wonderful and correct and right every time. I'd love to see it. I think we all would. We'd all love to see her stand in Holyrood, in the chamber, being questioned left, right and centre, as hard questions flying, not just from the Labour and the Tories and the Lib Dems, but but harder questions even from her own people, from the SNP, asking why did she do it? Why did she make these policies? Why did she do the things she's done to completely destroy the SNP? Because make no bones about it, her policies, her decisions, they have destroyed the SNP. Whatever happens now is all her fault. No one else's. It is very sad. If you're Nicola Sturgeon, for the rest of us, it's marvellous, isn't it? I, for one, cannot wait to watch that court case unfold. I want to see all of them lined up, answering those questions, and knowing that they're all going to spend a long time behind bars. Can't wait. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you're seeing here, do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. Definitely leave a like. I do ask for the likes because it really, really helps with the algorithm. But until next time, please take care. Be safe. Don't do anything bloody stupid like vote SNP. And goodbye.